Hello, and welcome to the Kathleen Spracklin podcast. I guess I'm basically a Zettelkasten teacher these days, so I'm just going to wear that identity and set aside my writer mom coaching for a little while longer. I have had the opportunity this past week to talk with one-on-one with several people who are very, very new to establishing their Zettelkastens. And I want to thank you so much for talking with me. And I'm thinking of Kayla and Meredith and Jay and Michael and Pam and Julia and Julianne. Thank you all for taking the time to sit down with me and talk to me about your challenges and what you're hoping to accomplish with the Zettelkasten. Because as you know, I'm creating a course and I want to make it sure that it serves people at different stages in their Zettelkasten. And the people that I'm especially concerned with are either the people that are brand new and just getting started and don't know where to go, or people who have started out one way and have stalled out and feel like they can't go forward right now. My course is definitely open to anyone who just wants to polish up and get some extra ideas, but it's the people who don't see an immediate path to getting that Zettelkasten that I mostly am committed to helping, because I want you to be able to have a Zettelkasten on your work table that you can touch your cards and put information in and get information out to help you in your life. So what I'm going to talk about in this podcast is the very, very first cards that go into the Zettelkasten, because that's a really, really big problem for a lot of people. And I think that is one area in which it can be quite useful to have categories. So I'm going to actually show you one page from a category list that I created. If you sign up for my mailing list, you will get that category list among other things that might help you, including a listing of my YouTube videos by topic so that you can review them in an order that makes sense. So this is what I can put out there for right now while the course is being built. What can I offer you at this moment to get you going until I can offer you the course? So that's what those things are. But I want to take a look at one of the sheets in the categories and talk about, well, how would you use a category like this when you've got your very first bib card and you want to make a main card and you just don't, it's all too new and you don't know where you're going to put that card. So we're going to take a look at the categories list and I'm going to go over how I would suggest you use it. Now, you know that I'm a little bit different from some of the other gurus, especially my own guru, Scott Shepard, who taught me everything that I know about the Zettelkasten. I respect him enormously, but I don't think too much of his numbering system, and I think on the one hand, I have an enormously high regard for the fact that he went over to Nicholas Luhmann, and Nicholas Luhmann is the king of complexity, and he went over there and he mastered Nicholas Luhmann's system, and he brought it back to us in all its complexity. And that was an enormous doing. If he had not done that, I would not have my effortless numbering system, because I got to say, oh, thanks, Scott. Now I see how it works. Okay, I think it could be made easier. Let's try this. So I have enormous respect for him, but I do categories differently because I want to tie into the mechanisms that I use, which are all about ideas. To me, a Zettelkasten has to be about ideas. And I've made several podcasts recently talking about that. But let's relate that now to a category list for what you would do with your very, very, very first bib card, very, very, very first main cards that you want to add to your Zettelkasten. So let's take a look at the down-facing camera, and we'll look at that list and talk a little bit more about it over there. See you in a moment. Okay, here is my category list, and This category list, the whole thing runs 6 pages, and I've printed out 1 page because I think I can tell you what I need to go over with you just from a single page. Okay, one of the things I want you to notice right away is this category 1000. I'm going to elevate it a little bit so you can definitely see it. 1000, the 1,000 numbers are the great big category divides. And then it can be broken down from there into the hundreds. And then from there into the tens. And then I took one of the tens just to give you an idea, and I broke it all the way down to the units, just so you can see how, if you wanted to, you could take a subject like architecture and break it down into all of these individual ones. Now, where did I get all of these pieces of information? For the most part, I got on Google and I said, okay, what are the major categories of general knowledge? And I collected them off of the different sites that Google offered me, and I selected them out and I chose them. Okay, then I said, okay, what are the major divisions of art? And Google told me, all the way down to this last one, what are the major divisions of architecture? And again, so these are not things that I invented. And I also don't make any claim that the list is complete. I did notice the other day that philosophy is rather dramatically missing from this list. So please don't think of this list as being some kind of a gift from, the superior beings or something. This is just my attempt to demonstrate to you what is meant when you use a 4-digit category number. The 4-digit category numbers seem to be the most popular, and that's why I'm going along with it. In reality, categories could be anywhere from 1 digit to 7 digits. Yep, Shelley Meadows uses 7 digits in hers. She's got thousands of categories. You can get her list as well. So, but this is what I want to go over with you is how a category list like this one or any list that you might develop for yourself, how is this going to help you place your very, very, very first cards that are going into your Zettelkasten? Now, if you've watched my videos for very long, you know that I tell you that the new card chooses its parent card from amongst all the cards that already exist in your Zettelkasten. Well, that doesn't work so well when there aren't any cards in your Zettelkasten. So then you need a different method, and that's where categories can come in, because they can give you a number to put on your card when you don't have any other number. Okay, suppose you wanted to make a note that came off of a bib card from drawing on the right side of the brain. And your note, just to keep it simple, is talking about the difference between working with half of a brain, only your left side, versus working with your whole brain, your left brain and your right brain. Maybe the note's talking about one side being intuitive and the other side being logical. We won't get too specific with what the note might be, but we say that we now have a main card that is our very, very first card that we want to put into the Zettelkasten. The card's supposed to choose its parent, but it doesn't have a parent. If you're using pure effortless numbering system, then that card is card number 1, and you're done. If you don't like that idea, you want to use a category system so that you can have some kind of a sense of where to place the next card, then you can reach to a list like this one, and you might find 1130, drawing. At that point, you'd have to decide, is that categorized enough, Or do you feel like you want to do something like modern architecture and break drawing down into all of its components? For me, I never would, because I barely draw at all. Whatever I've learned from that book is about the only thing I can do with drawing. Everything else is just appreciating others. So maybe I would just say 1130 would be good enough, and that would be my category number. Now, that would give me my first card if I'm going to use the effortless numbering system starting from a category. Then my card number would be 1130.1. If another card comes along and it's also about drawing and maybe came from the same book, then it would be 1130.1A. Or perhaps you find that you're really getting into this concept of drawing, and now you've discovered that there's another author and he's got a slightly different take on it, and you're wanting to learn about drawing with charcoals. It's still under drawing, but it probably wouldn't choose either of these cards as its parent, because it's about charcoal drawing, not what part of your brain you're drawing from. So in that case, you'd go back to your category and you'd say, it wants to be 1130.1. That's taken. 1130.2 then. So you see how those categories work? And that can get you going a little bit easier than just going straight from totally from the effortless numbering system. There would be nothing wrong with having drawing on the right side of the brain be card 1 and charcoal drawing be card 2. But you might think that, they're both about drawing. Maybe I'll make this card 1A. And that would be all right also. But it becomes a little bit more organic and it grows up more naturally, a little bit wilder. And so if you're more accustomed to order, you might find the categories list will help you out there. And that really is the only time and place that you would use the categories list. As soon as your Zettelkasten is built up with enough cards that your new card can find a parent, that parent card is always going to be preferable over hunting for a category. Okay, so I hope that helps you get your Zettelkasten off the ground. Please feel free to ask your questions right here in the comments to this YouTube video. There's also a Zettelkasten circle over on lilypub.org. You can ask your questions over there as well. And I will answer you, or some of the other people who are on LilyPub might answer you even faster than I do. And the encouraging thing I want to tell you is that it's only difficult at the very, very beginning, and the only reason it's difficult is because you're probably thinking, I might do it wrong, and don't worry about it. Just get it out there. If their card numbers aren't what you would give them later on when you're into it, and you look at that and you say, look at that silly card number. There's nothing wrong with that either. Just don't worry. You're not going to make any fatal mistakes. Zettelkasten is quite forgiving. So don't let worries about where to put your first card stop you. So I hope this helps, and let me know if this helps you keep going, and just put those cards in. By the time you've got 6 or 8, you're going to really start relaxing. So get those first cards in and don't worry about it. And in categories, I strongly discourage you from making cards for all these categories. I know Scott suggests that you make category cards. I don't recommend that. I think you just keep your system pure with just main cards, because I don't want you to get into the habit of titling things. Remember, it's ideas that we're working with. So go back to some of the videos on what goes on a main card, because we're just talking numbering here. But you need to be sure about all of the pieces that you want to keep on your main card. So I hope that helps. And good luck and stick with it. It's everyone who has one will tell you it's so easy once you get over that startup. It's just it's like learning to ride a bicycle. It's just getting started is the only part that's hard. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.